Welcome back to ShopDog-Garage. It's a 67 Camaro video. Don't know what all is going to happen in this video. It might be very short, but Harlan decided to come by and stop me before I made a giant mistake and hopefully kind of teach me how I should be approaching this, because I was just going to start welding some metal to this, and apparently that's not the right approach. So it's always nice to rely on the experience of the people around you, especially, you know, when they're super tall. And was just showing him what we're doing. Had a little work call, so I had to take care of that. So I'm sure he's bored now. You know, this area here starting to look pretty good. This gap, that's one of the things I need to decide is what my acceptable gap is going to be. And I think I'll base it on some existing cars sitting in the other room, and we'll make a little gauge. Harlan kept saying, use a paint stick, and I finally found one. We just checked the Pontiac. The paint stick's a little loose, but on the Impala, the paint stick is very snug. So this is a little wider than the gaps on the Pontiac. So that's too wide. But let me try this side. I might be thinking in my mind about a gap that's not reasonable. Yeah, in fact, this up here is actually too tight. So that's a little loose right here. But starting here up, that, especially if it was held where it's supposed to be, the tape moved on me. Yeah, that's actually not unreasonable. It's actually too snug up here. But that we could probably fix by rotating the door ever so slightly. I do know that the door is feeling a little high, but if it's going to be high anywhere, that's the one. So I should be able to drop this door and rotate it a little bit and get it a little nicer. Okay, remembering that this is still forward of this rocker, that's as far back as they can go. We're at least in the cage, you know, this bolt is hard against the metal, and we still have too much gap. Boy, if we could pull this door back that much, that would make a big difference. So we're getting ready to pop this guy off and see just how bad modifying any of that's going to be. So we threw one of the new stands together. Oop, I got shocked. And we're starting to just gently hog these holes a little bit to see if that helps. Okay, they're putting another one of them stands together. And I've been working on hogging this out. I think I got a little more to do here because they seem to be a little unequal on that hole. But yeah, this takes a minute. Okay, now you're on camera. All right, here is your measuring stick. Come tell me what we just did. So Harlan looked at it for about 2 seconds and said, well, if it's as far back as it's going to go, you're going to have to grind out the hinge a little bit and relieve it and slot it. So you just saw me do that. And Jeff, would you let ShopDog in? Heidi's calling. So, okay. We haven't spent a lot of time on it, but remembering what it looked like a minute ago. A little better, huh? Look at underneath. That came out almost perfect. So, apparently, tall people even know something. Okay, so the easiest way to tell how much that moved was, remember before we were like, boy, if we could just get that in line. I don't know how easy that is to see, but that's about as in line as we're going to get. Can't believe a simple little thing like that sure made a difference, because suddenly I'm not upset at that gap. There's still some problems down here, but we already know that. We're aware of that. Don't you keep pointing that out, ShopDog. Let's go get you a pretzel. All right, the next thing we're gonna do, Harlan says, and we agree, that this can't just be mud. So we're gonna put a slice here and then kind of bend this part forward a little bit and then figure out how to re-weld that back in. Obviously some of this will be damaged, that's fine. It wasn't finished over here anyway. ShopDog's not amused, but we've been working. So this is what we've done. Cut that, pounded it out, so you can see we're now in line with the line I had. Now, did not know about all this damage here, so we're going to be stitching that. But when we close the door, let me get my super secret door latch up here. So when we close that up, you can see we're getting what I want here, but obviously it falls away here, right at the body line too, which is a bummer. So we got to build it up here and stitch that in. But I think once we do that, then we'll have something with a lot less filler in it. And that's what we've been trying to do, a lot less filler. There's no better way to get comments on the internet than...
Oh my God, they'll rip on you so bad.
Well, one, I'm not a welder, and two, it is so thin here. It's just patch, patch, patch. Move down here, patch, patch. So when we're done, this will basically not be sheet metal. This will all be welding rod. Okay, we're really close here. I'm going to do a little bit of build-up from here to here and a little fill in here, and then I think that's actually going to work. Okay, so just spend a little time. In fact, you can kind of see the tacks. They haven't been cleaned up or ground down yet, but I've been really building up inside here. I know it's ugly. Don't worry about it. You can roast me in the comments. I don't care. The big thing is, look, I can now grind something away. I have material I can grind away to get my freaking body line. Another pass of welding and grinding, and I think we're getting somewhere pretty decent. So you can see I got a pretty consistent and nice gap all around. This body line, that's great. This body line's good. I'm pretty happy with that gapping. Now, one thing to note, this is recessed a little bit, but once the filler goes in here, it won't be. It'll be like this right here. So the way I've been doing this outside edge is taking and feathering the stick up and making sure that I've ground it in so that there's nothing that hangs up there that's going to be a problem when I'm sanding. So see, well, I don't know if you guys can see. So that'll work out nice. I probably will go ahead and just take the flap wheel and take this off so we can start over. But yeah, that I'm pretty happy with. That is a much better connection. Look how nice this came out. So we've got our body line up here. Got a nice gap coming down. Now, I know I can pull out on that top hinge a little bit and suck this in just a tiny bit, which is why we didn't worry about filling this out too far. Remember too, we still got to do filler, and because there's a little dent here. So this will all get smoothed out, but it'll only be just a tiny bit, not like it was. So, because this was all filler. And in here, we literally built this up layer after layer after layer. So this will be good and strong in here, because I didn't want that to not line up. But remember, this line here was way back here. This was our gap marks that we put on there with the chalk, saying this is where we wanted it to be. And when that's there, look at that. It worked. So I'm very happy. Harlan showed me a different way of solving a problem that honestly I think was a lot less work. Okay. And I think that puts us in a good spot for tonight. I'm very encouraged that something is starting to come together. Like we said, you know, that's pretty close. And you can really see just how much more sculpturing I've got to do when you look here and see how much deeper that body line is. So I think this weekend, if I get some time, I will continue working on this door fitment, because what we're going to do is get the doors hung and fitted and then make the fenders fit the doors, because that's really the only way to make this the way I want it to be. So I think I'll bring this down just a touch up front, but I think we talked about that earlier in the video. that's going to do two things. Bringing that down is going to pull this out just a little bit, so I might not have to grind as much. And this should be my hinge point, so this should stay. So anyway, I think some progress is made. I'm pretty happy. I'm glad Harlan came over and gave me some ideas on how best to solve this problem, because I couldn't be happier with that. Oh, you know what I should do next time I got the gas on is also do my little tack here, because if we recall, I've already fitted a lock on there and the gasket doesn't hide it. Luckily, I had seen online people complaining about that, and I'm going to catch it before when a lot of people do after the car's painted and they go to put the hardware on. So I've seen 3 different examples of that on the internet, of people, not the happiest people, when you got to repaint the whole door. So I'm glad we caught that. Guess we'll just leave that open. I gotta get some paint or some better tape. Anyway, ShopDog says thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We're at 988. We're almost to 1,000. ShopWreck says drink responsibly.